Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, January 14th. Okay, so the moon still in her rulership, still in this Cancer energy, still very much feeding off of the full moon energy that we peaked into here last evening. But the moon is in Cancer energy, void of course since 11:46 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, late Monday evening. We are going to watch the moon shift into Leo energy at 4:13 a.m. And so let's just talk about the fact that yes, we're still in an emotional upheaval type of energy due to the full moon. But anytime that we're moving out of Cancer energy into Leo energy, it's always welcomed, mostly because we're oversaturated in emotions. We're all up in the feels with the moon in her rulership in that Cancer energy. And then what happens is we get heart aligned in the Leo energy. Not only are we heart aligned because we're feeling the release of a lot of the emotions that we should have gotten out of our body at this particular point in time, but that Leo energy is the heart and soul of the zodiac. We are aligned with our true, real, raw, authentic self. We are tapping into a new level of creativity, a new level of badassery, of boldness, of bravery, of courage to do all of the things that we realize needs to be done if we want to make a change for the better. So this is going to be a definite change in our heart space, likely triggering, again, those heart activations that I spoke about in the Ascension forecast for this week. If you need to take a listen, by all means, go ahead and do so. But today we are definitely going to experience, I'm going to say, the better side of our heart space by tapping into new passions, new desires, and new creative solutions on how it is that we're going to switch up, change, and transform some of the aspects that we've become very aware of need to change, need to transform. There are 9 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. So first of all, 3:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon, void of course, but still in her rulership in Cancer energy, going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction, with the North Node in Pisces energy. That's right, we just shifted in to the North Node being in Pisces energy, the South Node being in Virgo energy here on the 11th. We just had our very first moon event, not only in 2025, but our very first moon event involving the North Node in this Pisces energy. If you want more information on that, I think I have kind of gone to an overkill state with the nodal shift. There is an astro class for it. There is a mini workshop for it. You can listen to the 2025 year ahead overview about it. We are in a brand new karmic chapter. Pisces energy is not messing around. And of course, a trine means that we are going to see a gentle growth period, starting off with our emotions. And because the moon and the North Node are both in water energies, this is going to be a time to cleanse and purify ourselves from a lot of the heaviness, a lot of the weight that we carried through, got triggered and activated under that full moon in Cancer. This is going to be a time for us to really get in touch with our intuition, to really get in touch with that futuristic want, need, and desire, that goal, that dream, that vision, that again, we have to spend a lot more time in our mind's eye, in our heart space to really get the details ironed out before we're going to take action upon it. It feels like this is an emotional release. It feels like this is a karmic release in order for us to now pivot and start focusing in on what it is that we want to build, what we want to create for our future selves. Of course, it is at this particular point in time, 4:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that the moon is going to shift into that Leo energy. About an hour later, the moon, now in Leo, is going to make a very awkward interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who of course is in Pisces energy. So this is a little bit of a reality check. Saturn always brings a little bit of a reality check on where it is that we got to get our shit together. And in this case, where it is that we have to get organized in our headspace and in our heart space before any action can be taken on the removal, the endings, the closures that are needed prior to the building, the beginning, the initiation that is needed in a new path, in a new direction. So, of course, we're being kind of blocked, if you will, paused, if you will, which we may perceive as a little bit of a punishment. However, we can't go into something willy-nilly. We can't just go taking actions without carefully thinking it through. And so Saturn is here to kind of pump the brakes, to remind us to get heart aligned with the goal, vision, and dream that, again, we're trying to manifest, and really just build and cultivate that inner boldness and bravery and courage needed to actually initiate this new path, this new chapter, this new direction. The moon in Leo going to directly oppose and sit across from Pluto. Pluto is the god of the underworld, major change, major transformation through the death and destruction series in order for a rebirth, resurrection, renewal to actually take place. We have Pluto in this Aquarius energy, and of course, Leo and Aquarius sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel, thus the opposition. Now, emotionally speaking, because we're in Leo energy, we're very, very connected to what it needs to be done for our own happiness, our own joy, for our own life path. The Aquarius energy that Pluto is currently in, yes, is more about the collective, but also puts us all up in the head space, takes us out of that heart space in order for us to act as the observer to see where it is that improvements and adjustments can be made. This opposition isn't going to feel good. It isn't going to bring out the boldness, the bravery, the courage. We are going to start speaking a little bit of fear into some of the goals, visions, and dreams that we might have felt pretty good about. But this is going to illuminate for us where it is that there's still some emotion that we have to unpack, release, remove, put behind us before we can go ahead and start implementing new changes, new improvements, new transformations in order to better not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. We have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in this Pisces energy, making a very awkward interaction to Mars, the god of war, who of course is retrograde in Cancer energy. So we have the masculine and the feminine divine energies coming together. They're both in water signs, so this is going to speak very highly of where it is that relationship dynamics are likely going to have a destabilization in order to highlight the emotions that need to be highlighted, to be acknowledged in order for us to change and transform them into something better. The Venus and Pisces energy is, again, karmically looking to remove, end, provide closures to karmic chapters that, again, we're having a hard time moving away from. Mars, on the other hand, he is retrograde. He wants to take action out in the world to make major changes, but he can't. He has to reassess what his emotional needs actually are. There is a restructuring of our values, of our priorities, of our home, of our family dynamic, of our relationships going on right now. And this particular interaction definitely going to trigger a lot of oppositional energies, going to bring out the hurt, going to bring out the dysfunction in order for us to address it correctly and hopefully put it behind us. The moon in this Leo energy going to make a beautiful interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. I like this energy because it means that we are going to be bossing up in a new mood, in a new attitude, with this boldness, with this bravery, with this courage, to start addressing the concerns that Uranus has been illuminating for us for the past 4.5 months of why it is that we're still holding on to the old. To people, places, and things, routines, relationships, money matters that we've outgrown that are not serving us, but for the life of us, we cannot seem to detach ourselves from. This is going to give us a jolt in our heart space. Again, take a listen to the Ascension forecast for this week. This is a heart activation where we're going to feel a little bit manic, a little bit restless, if you will. Suddenly, we know what needs to be done. Suddenly, we're very passionate about doing it. And suddenly, we realize that, guess what? We can't do it right now. And that absolutely sucks. However, once we know better, we can focus on doing better. The element of this particular energy is to have patience, to understand that immediate action, acting on impulse is not the name of the game, and instead really sit with these new emotions, this new excitement, this new passion, this new desire, and cultivate a strong enough fire and flame within you so that it does not burn out when you get to take action and you run into immediate challenges. We have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in this Pisces energy, getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with, which of course doesn't feel good because that highlights where we're going through growing pains, Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's currently retrograde in Gemini energy, looking back at old ideas, looking back at old conversations, looking back at old tough love life lessons, looking back at old information, wisdom, and knowledge that we thought we knew, that we thought we were going to be, again, kind of aligning with for the rest of our lives, that, again, very much changing. And because this is highlighting where we're going through a growing pain, a lot of it is because we're holding on to old narratives, old perspectives, old ideas, old ways of talking to ourselves. And of course, Venus in Pisces energy, she's looking to remove the old self-worth, the old self-esteem, the old self-confidence issues, because of course, the goal, the vision, the dream that we are currently wanting to manifest requires us to believe in ourselves and believe in magic and believe in manifesting a lot stronger than we have in the past. So we have the Gemini energy that Jupiter is retrograde in, highly focused on our intellect, what we know. But again, that's very attached to the ego programming. Then we have the Pisces energy that Venus is in, that is very reliant on trusting our gut, trusting our intuition, trusting our greater, grander plan. And so it's our intuition versus our intellect. Jupiter's involved. He's not being aspected in a very nice way, which means that we're not seeing the option and opportunity for growth. And instead, we're actually focused on where it is that we feel blocked, where we feel challenged, where we feel restricted, where we feel limited. And of course, that is not the greatest vibe. There is going to be a magnification on the dysfunction, the pain, the trauma, on what does need to be released and removed, especially where relationships and money matters are concerned. Expect that pop off. Expect there to be an over exaggeration of your emotional dysfunction and disposition where those particular topics and themes are concerned. We then have the moon in this Leo energy, making a very positive interaction with Venus right after, which is going to help us feel bold and brave and courageous enough to lean into our heart space, what we know to be true, what we know that we need, what we know that we have to pursue, and really start building this courage, this bravery to do the hard things. This especially is going to be affecting our relationship dynamics. Again, kind of releasing the shallow connections, the connections we know that aren't for us, the connections that we're holding on to, hoping and praying that somebody better will kind of roll around before we have to let this person go. There is a restructuring of how we're sharing our time, our energy, our space with the ones that we value, with the ones that we love. And in this particular case, realizing some people aren't worthy of that time, that energy, that effort. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Saturn. Saturn being the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, discipline. Of course, he's in Pisces energy, trying to wrap up not only the last 2 years, but the last 30 years of karma. He's trying to dissolve the false set of belief systems that, of course, we built the old world upon. He's trying to dissolve and deconstruct the structures and foundations of the physical realm that, again, at one point in time made us feel safe and secure, that at this particular point in time, looking a little bit like a prison, having us locked up and blocked in. This particular energy is super good for us to get emotionally and mentally aligned, organized, aligned with what needs to be done, the steps that need to be taken in order to, again, address the to-do list of the old world, the old debris, the old junk and gunk that has to be cleaned up, removed before we can start building towards this new passion, towards this new desire. This definitely has us in boss up mode, which is a beautiful thing. And it's also putting us in a situation to, again, feel like we have more power and control over our lives than we have felt in a very long time. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Leo energy, making a little bit of a tough interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. And of course, Mercury is in Capricorn energy, a little bit of a negative Nancy, little bit of a pessimistic perspective, little bit of a tunnel vision focus on what needs to be done. We're not really exploring a whole lot as far as, let's call them futuristic possibilities. We're very focused at this particular juncture on the to-do list. What do we have power and control over here in the present moment that's not only going to free us from the commitments, the obligations that we've made to people, places, and things in the past, but also free us up to start actively building towards this new goal, vision, and dream. So, of course, the moon is our heart space in the heart and soul of the zodiac in the Leo energy. Mercury is our head space, tunnel vision on what needs to be done. We have Leo and Capricorn energy, which typically speaking is a hard match, mostly because, again, that fire energy is shining very bright, wanting to take action, wanting to make moves, wanting to be bold and brave and courageous out into the world. And the Capricorn energy is in a state of paralysis because until we have a well thought out plan, a carefully strategic plan put into place, we're not taking action on anything. So our heart space, the moon, our head space, they're not on the same page at all. The moon in Leo energy wants us to trust our heart space, wants us to be bold, brave, and courageous in the actions needed to take in order to truly express ourselves and therefore tap into this new goal, vision, and dream that we're very excited to take action upon. And of course, you have negative Nancy over here just picking the plan apart, trying to convince us that we can't take action on impulse, we can't take action on our heart space, that emotion shouldn't even be factored into it because there's no room for emotion when we're talking about business. That's that Capricorn energy, just bossing up, treating everything like a business contract. And at this particular juncture, our heart wants to go one way while our head wants us to focus on another.